David Pulaski, thank you for joining us.
Chip, thanks for having me. This is my first recorded AWS meetup session, so I'm super excited about it.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Making me
I'm
famous.
really excited to learn more about CloudChomp, one of AWS's really top tier technology partner in the world of migration assessments. And it's astonishing to hear the kind of success that you've had, not only as a business, but I hear it from AWS sellers and customers, all this positive feedback in terms of what you're able to present to help decision makers make better business decisions on which path they want to take forward. So I'm dying to hear a little bit more about not only the business, but I'd really like to hear, if you're okay with this, a little backstory on you personally. You're a co-founder of CloudChomp and you're running the business now. So I'd love to hear a little bit about David Pulaski first.
Okay, cool. So I'll give a 60-second summary. So my first job out of school when I left school was at Lehman Brothers, and then I got a job at Paine-Webber. And I learned very quickly that that was not a job I enjoyed. And at the same time, my brother had founded a software company in the early 1990s called BindU that was basically the originator of networking security technology, eventually sold to Symantec in the early 2000s. And on that journey, I met my partner, Walter Rogers, which brings me to how we developed our relationship with AWS. But I've been in the software security compliance business for decades, really focusing on enterprise computing, whether it's on-prem or now cloud, and helping people be more efficient inside their organizations with financial decision-making, technical decision-making, et cetera.
Well, it certainly was a natural fit for you. It certainly sounds that way. But you made a strategic decision to partner up with AWS as a strategic partner. Can you just tell us a little bit about that decision-making process and what that relationship has enabled you to do?
Yeah, so that primarily came from my partner. So he has another company that does training, and he helped work with Amazon to help develop the enterprise sales training program for the commercial sellers at AWS. And it was through the relationship with the salespeople and the management team where, Amazon is so hyper focused on the customer experience that he was asking them, where do customers suffer? Where do they stumble? What challenges do you face? And they were, when something is born in the cloud, it just moves. But when something needs to migrate, before we came along, the process was there's this statement of work for a migration assessment that is invasive and complex and expensive and time consuming, and it creates bottlenecks around people who don't have the time to do all of this work, to where customers couldn't get answers to questions they needed to determine yes or no, should we move to the cloud? It was like the statement of work and the cost and complexity of the assessment were so high you could never actually get to a migration. And he remembered back to an earlier life where in the early 1990s, he built and sold a technology to VMware that's still in use today called Capacity Planner. And so this play has been run before. Before it was bare metal trying to figure out how to virtualize. And it was super complex and invasive. And he developed a tool that was agentless, plugged in minutes, showed you exactly how to provision based on your utilization. And so that's what was missing is if you plug into an online calculator, you're showing what you've got. You can't look at your CapEx world through the lens of the cost of running, cloud compute as a utility. You can never find cost optimization there. So he took that same experience and we just are doing the same play against now over provisioned virtual bare metal environments, trying to figure out how to buy cloud compute as a utility. But it was really from the customer's perspective of how can I get to a directional decision without having to, make this some project that's like an enterprise, project that's going to deplete all of my time and money and resources.
So walk us through then that assessment process, the CloudChomp analyzer. I think it's fascinating to see what you're able to uncover during the course of your intervention with a customer.
Yeah, so if you don't mind, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go in and share my screen so you can see what the outcome looks like in our application. So can you see that?
It looks great. Yep.
Okay. So what happens is we'll get introduced to a customer primarily through Amazon, or, our strategic relationship with Amazon has blossomed into incredible relationships with all of these consulting partners in the APN community. And Amazon has done a very good job of requiring partners to achieve certain competencies. If you go to the APN portal, you can see all of the things people claim they're experts at, but there's a section for competencies that says, these people actually have competency, been verified by other customers, certifications, complexity in technology and consulting. So that relationship has helped us build that. The relationship with Amazon has helped us build this relationship with this entire kind of consulting community that have these migration competencies. And so normally it's either an Amazon salesperson or a consulting partner with the migration or Windows workload competency that comes to us and says, hey, we want to help our customer bypass all of this expensive, complex, invasive tooling to get them to a directional decision, because that's good for everybody. Right? It's not just the sales rep who wants to get to a directional decision quickly. It's the customer too. If this is right for you, you want to know that really fast. And so we'll get introduced to a customer through usually a partner AWS. We'll have a quick demo showing what you're looking at on screen right here. And our provisioning process takes around 20 to 45 minutes, maybe up to an hour for our whole breadth of products. And then in most cases, because most people run VMware, we can pull data from any data source. But for VMware, we can turn around a TCO or right size cost estimate and ROI to Amazon within 24 hours. So when a customer plugs in, we've got this entire map set out. And so we're the only tool in the world that can do that I know of. Most products, you have to wait a month for that first report to be ready. And so the outcome is we're going to show you your on-prem cost, what it would cost if you did a fully provisioned lift and shift into AWS versus different pricing models where you can price out, on demand versus a 3-year commit, or and everything we're doing here is fully transparent. So the tool is delivered to the customer as their assessment tool. If you, I don't know, have you done any of these TCOs yourself or gone through a lot of these before, Chip?
Oh, yes. They're a terrific amount of fun.
Yeah, so normally what happens is someone does a discovery with some tool or manually. It gets thrown into a spreadsheet and dropped to the customer and says, here, probably a lot of this stuff is wrong, but can you help us fix it? And the customer says, these aren't my spreadsheets. These are yours. You fix it. And that's where the friction begins. So what you're looking at is the tool, the framework that the customer receives as the driver. Amazon has 2 main taglines. Builders build. So this is letting the customer build their own migration plan. So when they're done, they've signed off on everything because they built it. And the other one is better together. So through this collaborative framework, you've got the right partner for the right project, the Amazon rep helping work through different programs that Amazon might have to help accelerate migrations, and us as the experts at the tool. But at the end of the day, you're looking at what you would normally see through a calculator as far as the price, and then what we think you should be provisioning based on your actual utilization. In most cases, we can get here in 24 hours. Then there's app discovery, dependency mapping, and all sorts of other value to the customer.
Oh, that's terrific. So when you net this out, you're empowering that customer to make some pretty profound, complex decisions through the use of a very sophisticated tool. So you present that information, you simplify what that looks like, but the process of what you're going through is incredibly complex behind the scenes that enables the customer to really achieve these incredible benefits. I'd love to hear more about ultimately what that deliverable and what that enables them to do.
Yeah, so it's really important to make sure that when the outcome is delivered to a customer, it's something that they develop for themselves. I can't stress enough how important that is to get someone to a directional decision, to help someone get to a directional decision as well. If you present some TCO model to a customer that they haven't developed on their own, it's very hard for a business owner to look at that and say, okay, when you've developed it yourself, you've got sign off from your team. That's the same team that's going to own the migration. They're going to own managing this infrastructure afterwards. Those are the people who need to be signing off on the assessment, not a partner that you've paid money to, right? So you want to be able to have guidance, but build your own plan. And really quickly, I pulled up this other summary of what we're doing here. And what you're talking about is what we call discovery to sal. So what we're doing here is we're helping a customer, instead of going to multiple vendors which, by the way, isn't just more time and complexity and cost, it's duration. Because you've got to look at one set of decision making before you say, okay, this looks good, we've crossed this gate, let's go to that next complex tool and next cost. You're not going to throw all of these tools together at one time. You're going to go through a decision making process. It's a journey. We call it discovery to sal. So what you're looking at is, through our multiple competencies we have, I noticed I have I'm missing parentheses here, so I'm going to go back and fix that. We're doing the discovery, the TCO. You've got right sizing for EC2, which is native Amazon virtual machines, VMware Cloud running on AWS, as well as deep dive storage options, as well as Windows and SQL license planning that helps you figure out how to handle the complexities around Windows licensing, which falls into this idea of transformation. So we're going to help you look and say, hey, if you're running this, you really ought to go learn about Aurora. You should really go learn about Lambda. You should learn about native cloud compute utilities that can give you better performance at a lower price. And then at the bottom here, you see app discovery and dependency mapping. Normally, that is an incredibly invasive, incredibly expensive tool set that we plug in the second we meet with the customer. So after the financial modeling is done, we now have all of the complexities laid out where they can sit with the consulting partner, us or Amazon, and help figure out what's the best workload to move first. And so unless you're going to VMware Cloud moving everything at once, you're going to be moving things in waves. And the question is, what do I move first? And that's where you have to do more of get beyond the financial model and figure out, think about this. As a business owner and you're starting that journey to the cloud, you don't want to bite off the most complex problem first. You want to take a look at something that's going to give your team experience as they grow and mature in the cloud. And so you're going to want to find those easy to move workload first, which we can help you do. And at the end of the day, it's not, the last thing I'll kind of mention about this is everybody talks TCO, but nobody talks ROI. And so through this built-in statement of work calculator around what Amazon calls the 7 R's, is a machine going to get retired, retained, re-architected? And so as you tag your assets and then figure out that first wave, this is going to figure out the cost to migrate. If you don't know the cost to migrate, you don't understand the ROI. And so having all of that around one collaborative framework, one set of data that everyone's working for, you really get to move in a much more rapid way with much, much more confidence. And so that's what we've been working on for the past 4 years. And now we're working on transformation. We're going to actually be delivering tools at the end of 2020 that will help customers figure out where is the best opportunity to actually transform versus lift and shift. And we'll be able to take that technology and plug it into EC2 to help customers transform post-migration at Amazon. Oh, so now you've seen the future roadmap too.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. David, thank you so much. Obviously, Amazonians love data-driven decision-making. So this really, really empowers so many people that are in the process of helping these customers really make the right choice moving forward. So this is terrific. Thank you very, very much. I want to ask you a question though. We'd love to have you come back, and I'm thinking, let's bring a partner, an integration partner with you, and we can walk through what a customer experience can.
That would be really great. Yeah. Each one is obviously unique, but it is there is definitely a marriage of competencies. We are an advanced technology partner, but we don't move workloads. We don't manage AWS. And so we help you with that assessment, but there's going to be experts helping you along that journey. That is an important piece of the puzzle that we've developed some great relationships with people who know how to look at our assets and interpret that data. And the last thing I just want to say, besides thanks for including me on this, was it was a strategic decision of ours in the very beginning to focus just on AWS and be non-agnostic. Mm-hmm. And that has proven to work out for all of us in great ways. And most importantly for the customer, every cloud is unique. There are certain things that are certainly unique to Amazon that can have a giant impact on that end result of your assessment. And if you're missing a couple of those nuggets, it can really send you off course. So by working with Amazon and really focusing on those APN partners that are also non-agnostic, we've really been able to stay laser focused on helping customers with the most dominant cloud. And it's stuff like this that you guys are doing for us and get our name out there that has been really, really helpful to us. And I really appreciate you including us on this video and this session.
It's our pleasure. Very much so, David. But you're coming back, man. I'm going to hold you to that. We're going to bring a partner with you, and we're going to have some good stories to share.
Only if you promise to do it after all the sunny holidays, so I have a suntan like this every time we do it.
Will do, man. Okay. Hey, thank you very much, sir.
You're
you have
welcome.
a great rest of your day.
Including me. Thanks for inviting me. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.